My wife and I had been married for about 2 years when things started to change. Just a couple of months after our wedding, she began experiencing intense mood swings, anxiety, and irritability. It wasn't just a bad day here and there, it was a constant, heavy cloud that settled over our lives. Soon, she couldn't even leave the house most days. The world outside became too overwhelming, and our home became our sanctuary and, in some ways, her prison. I found myself taking on a new role, one I never expected. A full-time caregiver. She needed more time, more effort, more patience than I ever knew I had. We were just a couple in our 20s, supposed to be building a future together, but instead, we were just trying to survive each day. Things were incredibly intense. We did what anyone would do. We sought help. We went from doctor to doctor, desperate for answers, for a solution, for some kind of relief. But the response was often the same. Let's wait and see. Or they'd prescribe something, and we'd hold our breath, hoping this would be the one. She kept getting worse. The wait-and-see approach wasn't working. It got to the point where I had to quit my job. I couldn't leave her alone. I needed to be there to keep an eye on her full-time. Our financial situation became another layer of stress on top of everything else. The doctors tried a whole cocktail of different medications. It felt like we were just throwing things at a wall to see what would stick. Some of them made her completely numb, like a zombie, just a shell of the vibrant woman I had married. Others had terrifying side effects. One medication made her heart race so badly that we ended up in the emergency room, thinking she was having a heart attack. It was one of the scariest nights of our lives. But then came the one medication that tipped everything over the edge. It made her extremely violent. The sweet, gentle person I knew disappeared, replaced by someone filled with rage. She'd lash out at me verbally, screaming insults that cut deeper than any physical blow could. And then it became physical. She would bite me, hit me, throw things. A couple of times, I had to physically restrain her just to keep her from seriously hurting me or herself. It was a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching experience to have to hold down the person you love most in the world. Living like this was a constant state of high alert. My sleep schedule was completely dictated by hers. I learned to sleep when she slept, catching a few precious moments of rest whenever I could. The exhaustion was bone deep, a permanent part of my being. One night, I was asleep, or at least I thought I was. Something jolted me awake. It was that primal instinct, that feeling in your gut that something is profoundly wrong. I opened my eyes. The space next to me in the bed was empty. My wife wasn't there. My heart started pounding in my chest. I scanned the dark room, and my eyes landed on the bedroom door. It was slightly ajar, with a sliver of light cutting through the darkness from the hallway. And then I saw her. She was standing at the foot of our bed, perfectly still, just a silhouette against the light. My blood ran cold when I saw what was in her hand. She had gone to the kitchen and gotten one of the big chef's knives. She was just standing there, holding it, staring down at me. In that moment, 1,000 thoughts raced through my head. But the overwhelming feeling wasn't just fear or terror. It was a profound, soul-crushing exhaustion. I was so tired. Tired of fighting? Tired of worrying? Tired of seeing her suffer? I looked at her empty eyes, and I made a decision. I spoke, my voice surprisingly calm. I said, "Take my life if you want. It's yours already. I gave it to you when we got married." And then, I did the only thing I could think to do. I rolled over, turned my back to her, and pretended to fall back asleep. It was the most terrifying gamble of my life. Every muscle in my body was tensed. I was straining my ears for any sound, any movement, the slightest shuffle that would warn me that this was it. The silence was deafening. It felt like an eternity. Then, after a moment that stretched on forever, I felt the bed shift. She crawled back in beside me. I heard a soft clink as she put the knife under her pillow. And then, she fell asleep. I lay there, rigid, listening to her breathing even out, waiting until she started to snore softly. Once I was sure she was deeply asleep, I moved with the utmost care. I slowly, carefully, reached over and slid the knife out from under her pillow. My hand was shaking so much I could barely grip it. I tiptoed out of the room and went straight to the kitchen. We had started locking some drawers precisely for situations like this. I put the knife back in its place and locked it away. As soon as the drawer was locked, the adrenaline that had been coursing through me finally wore off. I collapsed against the counter and started to shake uncontrollably, like a leaf in a storm. I just stood there, shaken, for what must have been 5 minutes. Then, the tears came. I went to the couch and cried silently, letting out all the fear, the despair, and the sheer exhaustion I had been holding in. I cried for about 10 minutes, just letting it all pour out. When I was done, I wiped my eyes, took a deep breath, and went back to our bedroom. I crawled back into bed next to her. I wrapped my arms around her, held her close, and fell asleep. To this day, she has absolutely no memory of that night. It's a blank spot in her mind. It's a secret I carry, a stark reminder of how close to the edge we were. It's a story that illustrates the unseen battles that many people fight. If you or someone you know is going through a mental health crisis, please know you are not alone. It can feel hopeless, but help is available. Talking to a professional can make a world of difference. You can contact a crisis hotline or a mental health service in your area. Reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness. Thank you for listening. Please take care of yourselves and each other.